In today's episode, the Honda Quintet. Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. In today's episode, like we said at the start of the show, we're looking at the Honda Quintet. Here on Quartzlight, we look at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s, and we sometimes become beyond those years as well. So today's brochure is actually from the UK, from the 80s of course. We'll throw that on the board and have a look at it now. So here it is then, the Honda Quintet for the UK market. Actually known as the Honda Quint when it came out in Honda by Honda in Japan from 1980 to 1985. It was introduced in February 1980 actually in Japan as we see here, a 5-door liftback version of the Honda Civic, being a bit more upscale actually than the Civic. An interesting design actually. Obviously here a lot of export markets, as we can see here. It was released as the Honda Quintet because quint I guess doesn't really mean a very lot, but actually in Australia, for Australian viewers, this was actually known as the Rover Quintet. Very unusual indeed. Don't worry, I'm going to zoom in a moment, but we can see straight away that the key feature really of the Honda Quintet was that it was a hatchback, and kind of like makes me think possibly what the Triumph Acclaim could possibly have looked like if they went for a hatchback design. Maybe that might have been a better idea, because I know the Triumph Acclaim had a tiny little boot. Maybe the hatchback may have been more successful. So yeah, the key feature of the Honda Quintet is that it's a hatchback design and a nice low sill to lift your luggage in there, which was always nice to see in the early 80s, wasn't it? And of course the early 80s meant a rise in people really wanting hatchback cars, so really it was the right design for the period. A rather nice little caption there at the bottom, the quintessential car for the 80s. Let's open the brochure and have a look inside. So we turn the page and we find, unfortunately, a very dark page. I'm never a huge fan of dark pages on brochures. Actually, this brochure is actually a very wordy brochure and quite a comprehensive brochure as well. So I don't think we're going to read everything, although we'll probably pick out these key features on this first page, where we get rather nice side shots of the Quintet, which we'll certainly look at later on. But you can see straight away it's a pretty high spec Quintet, that one. Let's have a look at these key points first though. Honda Quintet, an original variation on popular themes. The Quintet is a car in tune with today. Versatility, a luxurious saloon and a spacious load-carrying hatchback encased in a handsome aerodynamic body shape. Economy, the theme of the 80s. Despite medium-sized dimension and a large-size performance, the Quintet is engineered for economy in both fuel consumption and running costs. Safety, the double construction technique used for the body shell together with impact control design provide massive inbuilt safety. The multifunction visual schematic warning system keeps the driver in touch with every part of the car, pinpointing problems before they have chance to develop. Power, the high efficient 1602cc transversely mounted engine combines the road holding and traction of front wheel drive with ample power for quick response and comfortable high speed driving. The power comes through either the 3-speed Honda-matic or 5-speed manual gearbox. Comfort. We have worked long and hard to eliminate more noise and vibration than ever before. The recirculation control on the ventilation system is a new feature, and the body hugging seats provide exceptional comfort to match the comfortable ride based on fully independent suspension. And if you want fresh air, an electrically operated metal sunroof is standard. So yeah, standard sunroof, just to show you that it is a bit more upmarket, isn't it, than a Civic that it's based on. So kind of like certainly one step up from that, which is probably why this didn't become a Triumph Acclaim. I think it was a little bit too upmarket. Lovely alloy wheels on this particular model. Turning the page, so there we go, have a look on the inside, and we get glimpses of certain angles that gives us that very much a Honda design language for this period. Like I say, it starts getting very wordy. I might just pick a few key points out and then we'll move through these images. The main caption on this page is "See and be seen," with this lady there with the sunroof open, and describes the car as: "The Quintet is a car to see in and be seen in. The Quintet is good looking and extremely practical. It combines the crisp body lines of today, the solid big car feel of a saloon with the air of a sporty hatchback. The wide trapezoid body shell reduces wind noise to a minimum, and the low noise and air dam skirts give high speed stability with style. The body shape is also aerodynamically designed to avoid any suggestion of rear end lift experienced in some hatchbacks. The large area of glass and ultra slim pillars not only look good but provide a major safety factor, reducing dangerous blind spots to a minimum. The Quintet provides the driver with an exceptional all-round view. The finish of the Quintet matches the styling using a special chip-proof urethane primer on the lower vulnerable parts with a plastic insert. And then it starts going through basically the little images. So let's go to number 1, which shows the plastic insert. So giving you a little bit of idea, some kind of rust proofing on there, although I think very much like Hondas at this time, and even cars like the Triumph Acclaim, rust issues were a problem. And it starts talking about these bumpers as a similar sort of design as things like the other Hondas, and of course the Triumph Acclaim of the time with these plastic end caps. Another look at the front view of the Quintet and those bumpers. Starts talking about these mud flaps. Kind of mud flaps have become something that we don't really see too much of today, do we? But it was a big deal at the time. It says these mud flaps are standard fit. This little image starts talking about the fog lights in the rear bumper again, something Triumph Acclaim had those similar sort of idea with the fog lights in the bumper, because at this time a lot of the fog lamps were kind of like tacked on as a bit of a afterthought, just hanging from below the bumpers, weren't they, if you remember that. It also gives us a chance to look at that neat rear taillight design and indeed how it is badged. Driver's door mirror here, it's telling us it can be adjusted from inside the car. Standard side window demisting. Rear wash wipe. And it also tells us we get a little bit of an aerofoil as standard on the front wipers to keep them in place during high-speed driving. Turn the page, this is all about the interior where it says 2 into 1 will go, really demonstrating the flexibility of a hatchback with folding rear seats. So it starts with the family aboard there, and the luggage in the back, all seats up, and then using one of the split fold seats to add a little bit of extra space with 3 people, and then all of the space and all of the luggage with all the seats down. Have a look on the inside. It's actually a very pleasant looking interior, isn't it? It's quite nice, what they refer to as a 5-seater car. I quite like the interior on there, I must admit. Says the seats are something special. Body contoured to in hard wearing but comfortable vinyl. Vinyl, are they? Maybe my opinion has dropped. Now I'm learning these are actually vinyl seats, but it says they have a central ventilation panel for comfort in all conditions. Both front seats are fully adjustable. This must be the control for adjusting those seats, showing how far they can adjust. Then we get a close-up look at what it looks like when we do fold one of those seats. An unusual design, isn't it? With that little lip at the end. Controls for opening that rear hatch, although the little logo obviously used for many different vehicles as it is showing a boot. We get a rear parcel shelf to hide the luggage, but it does have a very clever little design. I don't think I've seen this before, where you can actually open that little luggage parcel type shelf to open it from inside the car from the rear seat, so you can still access the luggage. That's a clever little idea. Then we get a look at the dash, very much sort of Honda design language, with a few little twists in it. Actually, it's a very nice interior for its time. Let's zoom in a bit. So we get quite familiar gauges. We get a rev counter and the speedometer look very sort of regular. And then in the centre there is something a little bit different for the times. This sort of multifunction display there in the centre. And then we get this unusual little section. The clock seems an awful long away position there. I always think this section looks a little bit different. We can see a little Honda badge even to one side there. Let's have a look at some of the key tiny images. So a little green light there, OD or overdrive if you got the Honda-matic version, as in the automatic transmission. Dash shown from a different angle. This is like a little bit unusual, isn't it? It's just like tiny little shelf position there above the heater controls and the radio. A little bit of a look how it's illuminated at night there. Apparently the light is adjustable. A little look at the quite unusual stalk design. Ashtray illumination. Some more switch gear. Adjustable door mirror controls. A coin tray. Gives you an idea how big that glove box in there. Enough to fit a pair of binoculars in there. That unusual quartz clock in that unusual position. A bit of a close-up of that. And then finally the ashtray for the rear seats. All in all, quite a high-spec car actually. Then we turn to a very wordy page. I'm not going to read all this, but I might just pick a few key points out. It says here, Quintet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the road, obviously. Claiming that 5-speed gearbox, although also a little image of the Honda-matic as well. Let's just pick up a few key points out, then come back to these images. So it starts talking about performance. This is the power unit is a 1602cc transversely mounted inline 4-cylinder engine, producing 80 bhp at 5300 rpm. A highly developed engine providing excellent response allied to maximum efficiency. Its flat torque curve shows that it delivers ample power right across the rev range. The front-wheel drive provides traction under adverse conditions and pulls the car through corners and snow, ice or mud when others may well be stuck. So then moves on to safety, but it starts talking about the transmission. So it says the power is applied either through a 5-speed manual gearbox or the unique and well-tried Honda-matic system. The driver can play his car just where he wants it and keeps it there thanks to Honda's negative offset geometry for both front and rear wheels, coupled with the negative camber of the rear suspension, making the rear wheels track 20mm wider than the front. It then moves on to talk about comfort. Just as much care has been given to the design of the seats in the Quintet, and these are curved and shaped to be comfortable on a long drive and to hold driver and passenger firmly while cornering. Front seats are adjustable to suit any length of leg and for rake, and the driver also has a choice of height. All seats have headrests and seat belts. Ride 2 offers a careful balanced blend between cushioned comfort and a firm level ride at speed. The independent suspension has McPherson struts on all wheels and anti-roll stabiliser bars at both front and rear. In addition, the suspension is equipped with an anti-dive device to almost eliminate nosedive during severe braking. Altogether, the Quintet offers a standard of performance, safety, economy, style and comfort unmatched in its class. And then we just quite simply get a couple of Quintets driving down the road. And then we just get the front end of a red one. And then the final main page. Actually, a lot of this is actually repeated on the other page, so I don't think I'm going to go into great detail, but there are some lovely images at the back here. Maybe my favourite image of them all is this particular image, so let's start there. That's a great image, isn't it, with the lovely Honda alloy wheels, and of course the main point is the hatchback. I guess the family having a bit of a day out. They are nice wheels. I mean, I keep saying there are alloy wheels, although nowhere it tells me that these come with alloy wheels, or they are very clever steel design. They certainly look alloyed though. A lot of this page is talking about sort of heating and ventilation, of course. And then technical, so Quintet, technically speaking, it says here, a lot of this stuff we've seen already, so I'll quickly fly through this. So again, it's talking about the 1602cc 4-cylinder engine. Fully transistorized ignition provides a stable spark, improved starting and smoother high-speed running. Once again, telling it's a front-wheel drive car. Looking at the gearbox, telling us we can have a 5-speed or that 3-speed Honda-matic. Steering is what you would expect, rack and pinion. Suspension we've already talked about, and then brakes. It tells us servo-assisted brakes at front, drums at rear, but I think you probably would expect that at this time in this class of car. And then we got rather a lovely little image of this 1602cc overhead cam 4-cylinder inline engine. Remind us at one time, you could work on your car. Nice little image there though, isn't it? And that takes us to the specifications. So overall, a nice brochure with lots of information in there. Also shows engine performance curves and running performance curves. We'll certainly start over here, might glimpse over them curves. These are dimensions, they don't really come across very well on camera. And then over here it looks at the 4 different colours, so quite a limited range of colours at this time. So let's just start with the specifications. So the engine is a water-cooled 4-stroke OHC, 4-cylinder inline transverse, 1602 cc. So maximum horsepower 59 kW at 5300 min, or 80 PS at 5300 RPM. Maximum torque 126.5 Newton meters at 3500 min. Or 12.9 kgm at 3500 RPM. And moves on to transmission, 5-speed manual as we know, synchromesh of course, shows the gear ratios, final reduction, and then shows the Honda-matic specs there as well. There's your torque curve, pretty hard to show on camera though, I must admit. And then, like I said, these other running performance curves for the manual, and then the one on the right hand side is a Honda-matic, but again, very hard to show on camera. Steering system, rack and pinion, overall ratio 17.9 and turns lock to lock 3.3. Suspension, front independent McPherson strut, coil springs with stabilizer. Rear independent McPherson struts, coil spring and stabilizer. And then the brake system, front hydraulic servo assisted disc, rear hydraulic servo assisted leading trailing shoe drum type with sensing valve, brake circuit, diagonal dual circuit, parking brake, mechanical expanding rear 2-wheel brakes. Then shows dimensions and electrical system, tyres sizes, and then major equipment. Let's have a look at that. So exterior door mirrors both side, driver's side remote control, mud flaps front and rear, inner fenders front, chip-proof primer, side protection mouldings, interior seat coverings in semi-fabric simulated leather, front seats with adjustable head restraints, rear seat with foldable separate seat back, front seat belts, inside rear view mirror, dual sun visor with vanity mirror on passenger side, collapsible steering and lock, padded steering wheel, change lever, padded knob, choke, ashtrays front and rear, door, armrests, grab handles excluding driver's side, tailgate opener, door trim, carpet, wall to wall, boot mat, rear parcel shelf, luggage compartment light, air mix heater, speedometer, odometer, trip meter, tachometer, fuel meter, temperature meter, cigarette lighter, heater panel, radio, digital quartz clock. So overall, just appears that there is just one reasonably high spec model. And then what it describes as safety features, so load sensing valve, brake system, front and rear stabiliser, hazard light, rectangular halogen headlights, rear fog lights, large bumper corner pads, collapsible steering column, electric windscreen washers, 2-speed front wipers with intermittent mode, rear wiper, electric rear demister, warning lamps for choke, oil pressure, turn signals, beam charge, brake, hazard, tailgate, doors, tail light, childproof rear door locks. And that takes us to the colour choices. Like I said, only 4 choices. The colours on the right hand side are what your interior colours would be if you chose that colour. Starting with, so the first one is probably my favourite. Doesn't tell us the colour names rather weirdly, but this green looks very pleasant with this interior colour trim. And there's the grey with sort of a blue shades of interior, and then quite a light shade of blue, which doesn't look too bad. Again, it had that same blue shades interior colours. And finally what appears to be black with again sort of lighter shades, which it shared with the green example. And then on the back we get sort of a side shot of the Quintet, and this is where your dealer stamp would normally be if the dealer had stamped it. But interestingly, if I open the brochure up that shows the front and the back now, it gives us a rather nice look at this black example of the Honda Quintet. Not a bad looking car overall. So there we go, the Honda Quintet. I actually don't remember that many of them running around. It was probably in that price bracket, which may have made them a little bit expensive because they seem to be reasonably high spec for the time, but certainly that hatchback design was the right thing to do at this particular time period. Do you remember these cars? Did you own one? Please let me know in the comments. Always interesting to hear. But we'll end as we always do by saying, do please consider subscribing. It is all completely free. You'll never be charged to become a subscriber, and it's all very much appreciated. You can actually become a member now to also have a look at the Quarterlight YouTube page for that. But thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon. You'll see a couple of boxes probably popping up for other episodes if you want to continue viewing. But like I say, thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon, and goodbye.